Good morning 8th class students. In previous class, 4th lesson in 8th class NS subject, that is reproduction in animals. In that I explained about differences between asexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, and I explained about sexual reproduction in flowers, and I explained about unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers, and I explained about male reproductive system of human, and I explained about female reproductive system of human, and I explained about the structure of sperm, and I explained about the structure of ovum. Now in this class I will explain about in sexual reproduction, that is in sexual reproduction how zygote will be formed. Before that I will explain about internal fertilization. Internal fertilization. In previous class I explained about male human being produce thousands of sperms at a time. The female human being produce only one ovum per month. Production of sperms from male human is called spermatogenesis. Production of ovum from ovaries by female human being is called ovulation. Now when sperms and ovum produced, these must be fused together, that is called fertilization. What is under fertilization? Fusion of male and female gametes. Male and female gametes is called fertilization. So fusion. This fusion takes place inside of the female body. Inside of the female body is known as internal fertilization. Okay. Internal fertilization seen in examples of organisms which perform internal fertilization is birds, reptiles, mammals. If you will observe in this group of organisms, we can see internal fertilization. Now I will explain about the flow chart which shows about how zygote will be formed, how baby will be formed. If you will observe, the male gametes are sperm and the female gametes are ovum. This is produced from male human, this is produced from female human. When sperm ovum united together, zygote will be formed. This zygote develop into embryo, embryo develop into baby. So sperms are produced from male human being, ovum produced from female human being. Sperms are produced thousands per at a time, only one ovum released per month. If you observe sperms can live 24 hours to 72 hours. But if you will take, ovum can live only 24 hours. Sperms can move, ovum cannot move. When sperm and ovum united together, zygote will be formed. That process is known as fertilization. This zygote develop into embryo, embryo develop into baby. Now, how internal fertilization takes place in animals or human beings? I will explain the process how fertilization takes place with the help of diagram. See children, here now I am drawing female reproductive system. If you will observe female reproductive system, in female reproductive system we can find out two ovaries. Two ovaries releases only one ovum per month on successive months. For example, in this month, this ovary releases one ovum, means in the next month, this ovary releases another ovum. Do you know children? Now, I will explain about how fertilization takes place in female human body. Each ovary releases only one ovum per month. So, here we can find out some cilia or egg-like structures. When ovary releases ovum, so the ovum stay in a fallopian tube. This is called fallopian tube. So ovum can live only one day or 24 hours. So sperms can move. Sperms can move, ovum cannot move, no? So the sperm travels like this and meet to the ovum to form zygote. So zygote will be formed in fallopian tube. Very important exam point of view. In female human being, where fertilization takes place. Fertilization means union or fusion of male and female gametes takes place in fallopian tube. So if you will observe here, after formation of zygote, so when ovum is released by female human being, ovum is released at 12th day of menstrual cycle. Do you know, children, what is meant by menstrual cycle? What is meant by menstrual cycle? Menstrual cycle means the cyclic changes which occurs in female human being once in a month is known as menstrual cycle. So menstrual cycle means 28 days menstrual cycle. If you will observe, at the 12th day of menstrual cycle or 12 or 13 days, ovary releases ovum. Ovum can live only one day. Do you know menstrual cycle can be categorized into two stages? For example, first one is proliferative stage and second one is secretory phase. In proliferative phase, ovum will be released from ovary and zygote also formed in proliferative phase. So after formation of zygote, this zygote divided into few cells or many cells to form embryo. So this embryo transfer from fallopian tube to uterus like this. See here, if you will observe here, due to cell division or mitotic division, this embryo will be divided into so many cells. Finally, the embryo reached to the ovary, uterus. Finally, the embryo reached to the uterus and attached to the walls of uterus. So this is called uterus. So the embryo moves from fallopian tube to uterus. Here the embryo get attached to the walls of uterus. This process is known as implantation. This process is known as implantation. What is meant by implantation? Attachment of embryo to the walls of uterus. To the walls of uterus is known as implantation. Like this, implantation takes place in female human being. So the embryo still grows in uterus only. That if you will observe, the uterus of female human being is elastic in nature. When embryo increases their size, and uterus size also increases. Like this, embryo stays 270 to 280 days in uterus only. This period is known as gestation period. Gestation period. What is meant by gestation period? The time required for embryo for fully development is known as gestation period. After that, labor pains will occur by female human being and delivery takes place. So this is about how fertilization takes place and how implantation takes place in a female human being. Now I will explain about menstrual cycle. Very important. If you will observe menstrual cycle, the cyclic changes which occurs in female human being once in month is known as menstrual cycle. If you will observe menstrual cycle, we can find out two stages. One is proliferative phase and second one is secretory phase. 1 to 14 days is called proliferative phase. 14 to 28 days is known as secretory phase. In proliferative phase, ovary releases ovum. Okay. After that, in proliferative phase, the walls of uterus also may become thickened. The walls of uterus also may become thickened to receive embryo. So, what is the reason why walls of uterus may become thickened means to receive embryo, to bear the pressure of the baby, the walls of uterus may become thickened. So the uterus is waiting to receive embryo. So, okay, if fertilization does not take place, means if fusion of male and female gamete does not take place, if zygote will not form, what will happen? The walls of uterus will be ruptured and come outside of the body with some blood, that is called secretory phase. So this total process is known as menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle, the starting stage of menstrual cycle is called menarche. Menarche, the starting stage of menstrual cycle. This takes place within 11 to 12 years by female human being. And the ending stage of menstrual cycle is called menopause. What is that? Menopause. This takes place 45 to 50 or 55 years. So menarche and menopause. Menarche means the starting stage of menstrual cycle, and the menopause means the ending stage of menstrual cycle. Menarche takes place at 11 or 12 years by female human being. Menopause takes place in 45, 50 or 55 years by female human being. This is called menstrual cycle. So this is called internal fertilization. If you will observe, the fertilization, the fusion of male and female gametes takes place in fallopian tube, that is called internal fertilization. Internal fertilization seen in animals like birds, reptiles, mammals. Do you know birds lays eggs? Some people thought egg means here ovum. No. But egg means here they lays eggs. No. Birds and reptiles lays eggs. Eggs means developed embryo. Eggs means developed embryo. So this is internal fertilization. In internal fertilization, fertilization takes place inside of the female body. Here already we learned about how a baby will be formed. Now I will explain about external fertilization. Now I will explain about external fertilization. What is meant by external fertilization? What is meant by external fertilization? The fertilization which takes place outside of female body. Outside of female body is known as external fertilization. External fertilization seen in fish and frog. Do you know, if you will take fish, we can find out we can distinguish male fish with the female fish, and we can distinguish male frog to female frog. Do you know, male fish releases thousands of sperms into water, and females also release thousands of ova. Do you know, ova means singular, ova means plural. So the fusion takes place outside of the body, that is called water. Why? Because fish and frog lives in water. So the male fish which releases thousands of sperms in water, and the female fish which releases thousands of ova in water. I'll ask one question. Why they release more eggs? Do you know, children? Ovum or egg? Same. Ovum or egg. Zygote or fertilized egg means same. Ovum or egg. Zygote or fertilized egg. If you will observe, male fish releases thousands of sperms in water. Male fish sperms, and female fish releases thousands of eggs in the water. Fusion takes place outside of the body. If you will observe in female human being release only one ovum per month, but female fish or female frog releases thousands of eggs or ovum at a time. What is the reason? Why? Because the reason is fish and frog lives in water, no? So if you will observe in water, we can find out some water waves. So some eggs or ova washed away with the water, and some are eaten by other fishes. So there is chance of fertilization. If you will observe in this situation, chance of fertilization takes place little bit only. That's why they release more eggs. Why? Because if some eggs are washed away, if some eggs are eaten by other fishes, only few are available, no? Though, so there is a chance of fertilization takes place, but little bit only. That's why they release more eggs in water. If you will observe frog, we can find out male frog and can distinguish male frog with the female frog. Do you know some sounds which produced by frogs during rainy season? No, that sound is called croaking sound. What is that? Croaking sound. Do you know, children? Male frog only produce that croaking sound, which helps to attract female frog for copulation. No, so if you look in fish and frog, we can distinguish male with female. No, such animals are called sexual dimorphic animals. Sexual dimorphic animals examples are insects, fish, and frog, human beings. And if you will take hermaphrodite, hermaphrodite means both male and female sex organs in one animal. Example, earthworm. Earthworm. Do you know, children? External fertilization also seen in fish, frog, and earthworm also. So this is about external fertilization and internal fertilization. Okay, in the next class, I will explain about another important topic that is called IVF, in vitro fertilization. Okay, thank you, children.